welcome back to our channel. Everyone, it is a beautifully quiet day today, perfect for sitting back and diving deep into the absolute chaos unfolding in Genoa City. We have so much to unpack today, and honestly, some of these latest developments have left us completely speechless. Let's just get right into it, shall we? You know, when I sit and really think about Jack Abbott lately, I just feel this overwhelming, heavy sense of dread settling in my chest. He is initiating an idea that absolutely will lead to an unmitigated disaster if he isn't incredibly careful. I mean, we all know that Jack has been pushed to the absolute brink by Diane Jenkins Abbott, but this new strategy of his feels so incredibly reckless. It is almost as if he is so blinded by his bruised ego, his shattered heart, and his desperate need to reclaim his power that he simply cannot see the massive, jagged cliff he is walking toward. I find myself just staring at the screen, whispering to myself, wondering what on earth Jack is thinking. Because it feels like he is willing to set fire to his own life just to ensure that Diane burns in the ashes with him. And the profound tragedy of it all is that, well, things are about to spiral completely out of his carefully calculated plans. It is honestly so painful to watch someone you have rooted for over the years just completely fall apart and lose their grip on reality. The latest developments are showing us that everything is going to backfire on Jack in the most spectacular, heartbreaking way imaginable. He truly thought he was a master manipulator, the grand puppet master pulling the strings of jealousy and corporate maneuvering to break Diane's spirit, but he ends up falling into an absolute abyss of his own making. And the reason for this catastrophic fall, it is not just because Diane managed to outsmart him. It is because of a betrayal so profound, so deeply personal, that it actually makes my heart ache just thinking about it. Diane does not just launch a standard counterattack. She forms an alliance that no one, especially not Jack, ever saw coming in a million years. She actually manages to turn his own flesh and blood against him. Yes, Diane allies with Kyle Abbott. I honestly cannot wrap my head around Kyle doing this to his father, but at the same time, when I look back at the dark, twisted path he has been walking lately, maybe the warning signs were always there staring us in the face. Diane and Kyle teaming up to completely destroy Jack. It is a level of familial ruthlessness that leaves me feeling entirely cold. Together, they orchestrate a corporate coup that is so vicious, so flawlessly executed, that it removes Jack completely from the board. Kyle actually steps up, taking over the CEO position for himself and ruthlessly kicking his own father out of the shareholder group entirely. Can you even begin to imagine the look of pure devastation on Jack's face? The sheer, unadulterated heartbreak of realizing your own son, the boy you raised, the legacy you protected with your life, has actively conspired with the woman who ruined you, just to strip you of your life's work. It is devastating on a level words can barely capture. I genuinely feel a deep, suffocating ache for Jack in this moment, even if his own hubris brought some of this chaos to his doorstep. And you really have to wonder, how did Kyle get to this cold, calculating, almost sociopathic place? Well, we have to look at what has been happening in the background with Patty Williams. Patty has been relentlessly, obsessively harassing Kyle, haunting the periphery of the Abbott family with her delusional rants and anonymous threats. She has been pushing him, trying to expose the family's secrets, and, well, it fundamentally changed Kyle. The constant harassment forced him to tap into a darkness that feels terrifyingly reminiscent of Victor Newman at his absolute worst. Kyle did not just ask Patty to leave. He used advanced, highly illegal AI deepfake technology to frame her for federal extortion, completely shattering her life to protect his own. Seeing Kyle operate with that level of terrifying precision and moral bankruptcy, it makes you realize that he is no longer the golden boy of Genoa City. He has transformed into a ruthless corporate predator. And unfortunately, his next prey was his own father. While the Abbotts are busy tearing each other to pieces, my mind keeps drifting over to Michael Baldwin. And I just feel so much profound sympathy for him right now. Michael is feeling completely cornered by Victor Newman, and it is an entirely different kind of tragedy unfolding on the other side of town. Victor is absolutely refusing to negotiate, forcing Michael into a position where he must ruthlessly push his best friend, Phyllis Summers, into surrendering her entire empire just to avoid federal prison. I can almost physically feel the suffocating weight resting on Michael's shoulders. The agonizing, soul-crushing guilt of having to look Phyllis in the eye and tell her that she has lost everything. It is so deeply unfair. Michael is a good man caught in the crossfire of titans, much like Jack is caught in the crossfire of his own pride and Diane's vengeance. The parallel of these two men, Jack and Michael, both feeling completely trapped by the devastating consequences of the Newman and Abbott wars, is just profound to think about. But let us go back to Jack, because a wounded animal is always the most dangerous kind, right? Jack is down. He has been humiliated, kicked out of his own company, betrayed by his only son, and evicted from his ancestral home, but he is not entirely out of the fight. I was honestly shocked to my core when I learned about his secret countermeasure. Jack quietly, almost invisibly, reveals to Nikki Newman that he is not nearly as defenseless as Diane and Kyle seem to think. He confesses to Nikki that he has successfully, secretly bribed Diane's most trusted confidant inside the Abbott mansion. Wow, the sheer, calculated cunning of it takes my breath away. He has a mole, a silent spy living right under Diane's nose, watching her every single move as she parades around the house she stole from him. It makes me feel a strange, almost dark sense of vindication for Jack. You know, this insider is not just passively watching. They are meticulously, quietly collecting hard, undeniable evidence of Diane's illegal activities. They are documenting her blatant abuse of power day in and day out, and, more importantly, they are gathering concrete proof that she has been forging signatures to solidify her stolen empire. Diane truly thinks she has won the ultimate victory. She thinks she is completely untouchable, sitting on her stolen throne, but every single time she signs a document with a forged pen stroke, Jack's mole is right there in the shadows, securing another nail in her coffin. It is a brilliant, quiet game of high-stakes chess, but it is also soaked in so much toxicity. I often wonder how Jack manages to sleep at night, knowing he has turned his beloved childhood home into a den of espionage and betrayal. And Jack knows exactly how to maximize the emotional pain. He does not just want to take Diane to court and handle this quietly. He wants to humiliate her, to break her spirit publicly at the exact same way she broke his. He plans to drop this ultimate, devastating bomb on the exact day Diane is hosting a massive, lavish victory party at the Abbott mansion. Can you even picture the scene? The expensive champagne flowing, the elite guests raising their glasses to toast Diane's new reign as the undisputed queen of the Abbott legacy. And then Jack walking through those doors. The tension in that room is going to be thick enough to cut with a knife. I honestly feel my heart racing just imagining the sheer cinematic drama of that impending moment. He wants to tear down her entire world in front of everyone she is so desperately trying to impress. When the betrayal from within is finally exposed at that party, the psychological toll it takes on Diane is going to be absolutely immense. The sudden, horrifying realization that her closest ally, her most trusted confidant in her new stolen kingdom, was actually a dagger pointed directly at her back. It is going to make Diane completely collapse. Her smug arrogance will shatter into a million pieces. She will be plunged into a state of total panic and severe paranoia, not knowing who she can trust anymore. Every shadow in the mansion will become a threat to her. Every servant, every business alike, even Kyle himself. She will start to question the loyalty of every single person around her. It is a form of poetic justice, I suppose, but watching a human being completely unravel into pure, unadulterated paranoia is always a deeply unsettling thing to witness. And there is always a tragic but in Genoa City, isn't there? This massive, nuclear attack that Jack launches, it does not just hit Diane. It acts like a cluster bomb, and the flying shrapnel hits the one person Jack never, ever wanted to destroy completely. The sudden exposure of Diane's forged documents and abused power inadvertently drags Kyle's deepest, most private secrets out into the glaring light of day. I truly do not think Jack intended for this to happen. I really, genuinely don't. But when you play with nuclear options and blind vengeance, the toxic fallout is absolutely impossible to control. Seeing Kyle's private life, his hidden vulnerabilities, and perhaps his own complicit, highly illegal actions exposed as collateral damage in his parents' vicious war. It is just heartbreakingly tragic. Kyle allied with Diane to protect what he thought was the company's future, maybe even to protect his own dark secrets involving Patty Williams or the AI deepfakes he used. But Jack's blind, furious vengeance rips all of those carefully hidden secrets wide open for the world to see. The look of sheer betrayal and horror on Kyle's face when he realizes his own father's attack has ruined him too. It is going to be a moment that fundamentally, permanently alters the Abbott family forever. I feel a genuine, heavy sorrow for the complete destruction of this family unit. This shocking revelation causes a severe, perhaps entirely irreparable fracture in the father-son relationship. Jack and Kyle have survived so much together over the years. The Lock Monster, the endless corporate battles, the initial shock of the return of Diane, but this feels entirely different. This feels like a massive bridge burning to the ground with both of them standing on opposite sides, helplessly watching the flames consume their history. Kyle will undoubtedly view Jack's actions as the ultimate, unforgivable betrayal, seeing a father who was willing to sacrifice his own son's reputation and freedom just to get back at his ex-wife. And Jack. Poor, blinded Jack will have to look at the smoking wreckage of his revenge and realize that his obsession with defeating Diane has cost him the very thing he was fighting so hard to protect. It all comes down to an agonizing, soul-crushing choice for Jack Abbott in the aftermath. I sit here and I try to put myself in his shoes, and I honestly do not know what I would do, or how I would even breathe under that kind of pressure. Jack is faced with the ultimate, impossible ultimatum. He has the evidence in his hands. He can use it to completely destroy Diane, reclaim the CEO position, and take back the ancestral Abbott mansion that means so much to his family's historical legacy. But doing so means finalizing the absolute destruction of his son. He has to make a choice that will define the rest of his life. Does he want to win back his house and his company, or does he want to keep whatever fragile, broken fragments remain of his son's love and trust? Is a brick mansion truly worth the soul of your child? Is a shiny CEO title worth never having your son look at you with love and respect ever again? These are the agonizing thoughts that must be keeping Jack awake at night, staring blankly at the ceiling, haunted by the ghosts of John Abbott and the proud legacy he was supposed to uphold. John always put family first, but Jack has let his wounded pride and his toxic hatred for Diane completely cloud his judgment. It is a deeply emotional, profoundly tragic crossroads. I want to believe with all my heart that Jack will choose Kyle. I want to desperately believe that a father's unconditional love will ultimately outweigh his bruised ego and his need for revenge. But with the way things have been escalating so violently, I really do not know anymore. The tragedy of the Abbott family right now is a stark, terrifying reminder of how quickly love can twist into warfare when power, pride, and unresolved pain are involved. As I watch this dark storyline unfold day by day, I cannot help but feel a lingering, heavy sadness for all of them. Jack, Kyle, even Diane. They're all tragic victims of their own worst impulses and their inability to let go of their anger. The impending fallout from this disastrous victory party, the shocking exposure of the mole, and the devastating, life-altering choice Jack has to make. It is going to resonate through the streets of Genoa City for years and years to come. We can only hold our breath, watch as the broken pieces fall, and hope that somehow, someday, they can find a way through the darkness to forgive each other. But right now, looking at the state of the Abbott family, it just looks like nothing but ashes.